Yes, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining. I see many people are trying to log in, but saving for that it's a bit, they are really to challenge, but I guess all of them people will log in soon. This is another edition of the research training, university research training organized by the Central Office of Research, the Postgraduate College and the Postgraduate Student Association of Afemalo University, Ilefe. I want to say thank you, everyone, for joining. Today, we would be building on what we have learned, what we discussed last week. That is, last week we started discussions on literature review, and today we'll be working on something that is very important as part of your literature review process, and that is using the appropriate reference manager. So we'll have subsequent sessions on literature review, but then we need this to, accompany what we'll be doing on literature review as time goes on. So uh, today we have a professor that is an associate professor in the Department of Sociology and Anthropology of Afemalo University, Ilefe, that is prepared to take us through the session. He would be sharing his screen shortly. We are trying to work on his technical end of the work. But then, while we sort that, I want to welcome the Director, University Research Office, Professor Babajide Odu, and the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Akoni, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research, Innovation and Development, Professor Akoni Akinyemi, to Professor Akinyemi to just give us a welcome talk as Dr. Ali prepares to share his screen. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dwayne. Please, Professor Odu, please let Professor Odu make his remark, and I will introduce Dr. Kolali.
Yeah,
All right.
good morning, sir. Good morning, sirs and mass. I want to welcome everyone to this presentation this morning, especially our presenter. I just want to thank you for this endeavor, and then to really say that for the postgraduate students, we should take advantage of this presentation and make good use of it. So I can see that he is already sharing his presentation. So now I will just hand over to the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research, Innovation and Development, which is my boss. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Professor Odu. Professor Odu is my boss, but he's a very humble person. Don't mind him. Again, let me say good morning to us and happy weekend, as we call it. Call it the weekend early morning research coffee. So again, let me welcome us to this very important meeting again. We are privileged, to be discussing a very critical issue. But just for me to be able to link, all we'll be able to do. For those who attended the lecture given by Professor Adeshegun Fatusi on the prospects of doing research, one of those prospects is what we are trying to learn about doing a literature review or engaging literature. And Dr. Basso just started with us last week. Is available today to continue. But then we have another distinguished professor who is taking us today. But before he does that, just for us to know that our skill in literature review is really very key. Because there's a lot you can do, particularly when you're able to synthesize evidence to publish. It serves you. And people look for such skills to engage, even for job, for many other things. So I really want us to be very patient and understand this. So today we'll be looking into, the his and the science of referencing, because reference is also one of those key areas that shows, the scholarship in us. During our own days, it was difficult. Because as you are writing your work and you are putting the reference, you have to also be writing it in a jotter and be putting the reference. So when you finish your work, you go back to that your jotter and be writing all kind of typographical error, all kind of many errors that we do. But now I think life is easier with science and with technology. So we have in our midst today a professor of sociology. He's not just a sociologist, he's a global scholar. He's a visiting scholar to so many universities across the world. He's well traveled both locally and internationally. But the essence of his coming today is to show us some tips, particularly for those of us who are in this from public health to social sciences to humanities. For those in engineering, I know they use LaTeX, they use some kind of referencing manager. But for today, we'll be listening to Professor Kola Aliu of the Department of Sociology and Anthropology. As I mentioned, he's well traveled, an outstanding scholar. And there is somebody also that have used some of these things. So he'll be taking us through some of these practical ways of doing it. So Dr. Kola Aliu, you are welcome. You have the floor. So thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, my professor, my Oga, my mentor. Good morning, sir. And I greet everyone. Today, we'll be talking about Mendeley as a reference manager. So I'll permit me to share my screen. Just a moment, please. So just a moment. I'm trying to share my screen. Select best, okay. Okay, so good morning, everyone. So today we'll be having, I'll be facilitating the discussion on how to select the best reference manager for your research, for your literature review. So the essence of this is, I'm gone are those days that having to assemble your references was a major problem. But we have several reference managers that can help us organize and help us cite appropriately without being questioned our references. Some of the articles that we may be using as the foundation for our research. So today, we want to talk about selecting the best reference manager for your research. For reference manager, it is an effective way to manage your citation, and it helps you to avoid some of these things. One, it helps you to avoid losing important papers, because if you have to do it manually, for example, you have 120, 100 papers, it may be overwhelming trying to look for, Reference manager will help you assemble all of these papers together, and you can keep track of them. You can track them easily. Then it helps you avoid struggling with your citation in terms of what kind of style do I use, especially for those that will be writing papers. Some journal outlets would tell you that, no, we want AMA referencing. Some will tell you that they want Vancouver. Some will tell you that they want Chicago style. With Reference Manager, you don't have to struggle around all of this. With just a click, you give them what they want. So Reference Manager allows you to avoid struggling with your citation and formatting your citation. It helps you to format it. It will format everything. Once you instruct Reference Manager, it will do exactly what you want it to do. Then it helps you avoid duplicating your sources. You have different sources. So instead of, with recording it manually, you can duplicate. It's possible that you duplicate the same reference 2, 3, 4 times. So, but with Reference Manager, you can avoid all of that. Then it helps you to, it saves your time. It saves your time because you only need to put your reference in your library, and in putting it in your library, once you have filled all the fields appropriately, you don't have problem. You don't have to rack your brain around what to do next. So a reference manager, what's a reference manager? A reference manager is a software that helps you to, one, collect and organize your research sources. Some of the resources that you have, it helps you to put them together. It also helps you to store the data appropriately. Even when you have problem with your laptop, your system, the system you are using, you still have, you don't have to start worrying yourself. Oh, how do I get all of these sources together again? No, you have them in your library. You have them saved in your library already. Well, if you change your laptop, you change your system, all you just need to do is to download it, put your username and password, you have your library back, and you can continue to work. So if supposing you're doing it manually, the moment you lose where you're storing where you're documenting, then you start. So, but with Reference Manager, you don't have to do that. What you need to do is just to impute the username, the password, and you have your library back. Then it helps you to insert your citation so easily without any stress. And again, I would like to say that, you see, in citing and referencing, the essence of Reference Manager is to help you organize. But you cannot organize all of these things, and you cannot cite appropriately without reading the paper. You need to read those papers. The moment you have read the papers, you realize that citing those papers becomes so, seamless. So it is important that we read. So again, a Reference Manager helps you to automate or then automatically generate your bibliographies or references in desirable any style that may be, for example, OAU in my faculty, we use APA, American Psychological Association style. So if someone is working in my faculty, the person don't have to, he or she doesn't have to struggle with, how do I arrange, name first, or, should I say name, title, journal, outlet, year, and volume. So you don't have to rack your brain around how to arrange it. Reference Manager would do that for you. For Chicago style, any of the styles, Reference Manager will definitely do the work. You don't have to struggle around having to cite your reference. So it's a tool. A Reference Manager is a tool that, and it's more or less like, it serves as like a kind of database for your research, a repository for your research material, research article. It's a repository. So it serves as that database that helps you collect and organize all your articles or research materials. You have them in just one library, and with a click, you have, you can see them from, you can have a global view of what you have in your library. So then it's a citation engine that formats your references automatically. We have said that. Then it helps your workflow. It's a tool that helps your workflow. And by the time we start the practical session, you will understand this better. So we have different we have lists of revenue. There's many. We have Zotero, we have EndNote, we have RevWorks, we have Mendeley, and we have others. But for the purpose of our learning today, I will be zeroing in on Mendeley. Why? Because I have used Zotero, I have used EndNote, I have used Mendeley. But I found Mendeley Mendeley is a software that is user friendly. You can't, you can't move around Mendeley seamlessly without having to give you any problem. So, and it's free. It's free. So Mendeley, I'll zero in on Mendeley today. So for Mendeley, you have certain things that you need to note when you are selecting your reference manager. So out of the 4 reference managers that I've displayed, out of these 4 and others, you need to understand certain things if you want to select your reference manager. In terms of, you need to know how easy it is for me to use. Now, it is not just to select that, oh, because they say I should use reference manager, I just want to select reference manager. You need to know how easy it is for you, to use. And like I said, you see, Mendeley is very, very easy to use. It's user-friendly. Then think of costs. Do I need to pay for it? For example, there are some that you will need to pay for it. Zotero is free, Mendeley is free. Then you may need to pay for EndNote, even though some people have the cracked version, but you may need to pay for EndNote. But for Mendeley is free. You just need to download, install it on your system. Register first, install it on your system. I'll walk us through how to install Mendeley. So, but you need to consider the cost, whether you're going to pay for it or you will not pay for it. Again, you need to look at storage capacity. Now, on your system, some will require that you save some of those things on your system. But for me, my Mendeley, all I need to do at first is just to save those articles in a folder on my desktop or in my document. So once I do that, I then attach it I upload everything I have in the folder on Mendeley. At the moment I do that, now if I want to keep that folder on my desktop, the type of Mendeley I use, I then ask to watch the folder. In the process of watching the folder, if I save a new article in that folder, Mendeley will pick it up automatically. The moment I connect to the internet, it will pick it up automatically. So I don't need to save. To now start saving one by one. As I'm having the article, I don't need to start saving in Mendeley, since I have instructed it to watch the folder. By watching the folder, it basically means that whenever I put anything new in that folder, please pick it up. So, and it will definitely do that seamlessly without having to, I won't start thinking. So, and whenever I need to then cite the article or the new articles, I only need to, of course, since I have read, I will remember the name of the author. So I'll just, the moment I type the name of the author, it will pop up and I'll cite appropriately. So we need to consider the storage capacity. If you have to save on your system and at the same time, you need to now start moving back and forth to navigating between the software and the folder you have saved somewhere. Now that may be a bit cumbersome. So it is important that we pick a reference manager that will afford us that opportunity to just save in our library offline and also our library online, and we are able to use it anytime, any day. So again, in terms of citation accuracy, some in the process of citing, you may need to, again, put the human effort into some of these reference manager, whereby you then need to check properly whether they are cited appropriately. One thing to note here is, of course, AI can also cite for us. We can use AI for citation, but sometimes AI may not cite appropriately. So again, the human effort has to be there. So again, in considering what reference manager to use, we also need to consider the fact that whether this reference manager will cite for me, will cite the right style and cite accurately. It is important to note that. Then also, I like to use this, because I like to use a reference manager that allow me to integrate the reference manager on put it on my Word document, so that majority of us will work mostly on Microsoft Word, so that in the process of citing, we want to cite. Then also, we also work on Google Doc. So it is also important to, evaluate that will suit our need. So we need to consider all of that. Then again, does the reference manager allows us to collaborate with others? Have these collaboration features in terms of, so you may be working in a group, like you have different research group, and you are working on the same document at the same time, maybe on Google Doc, and you all want to use the same reference manager. So you need to consider that. You need to consider all of that, which I think reference Mendeley gives us that flexibility. Mendeley gives us that responsibility. Then also, in terms of annotation and note taking, can you highlight on? Can you read on the same platform? For me, I read mostly on Mendeley, and you can annotate on it. You can, put some tags on it, and if you feel, a particular paragraph is fascinating to you and you want to note that paragraph, you can annotate on it and put some note tag. Then also, in terms of data portability, if you exporting your library easily, of course, reference managers allows you to do that. Most reference managers allow you to do all of this, but I feel Mendeley do that seamlessly. Then again, you need to know if it's compatible with the context that you are. And I feel, Mendeley does that. So I'm going to introduce us to Mendeley as a reference manager. You see, Mendeley as a reference manager, what you need to do if you want to use Mendeley as a reference manager, you need to go to whatever browser you're using, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, where you need to type www.mendeley.com. And when you do that, it will take you to Mendeley Elsevier site. Mendeley is housed by Elsevier. It's owned by Elsevier. So it's going to open Mendeley for you. You then need to download. Now, downloading here, there are some that are using Apple system. Then there are some that use Microsoft and system. So again, it will ask if you want to download for Apple, download for Microsoft. Then you can download what is desktop. You can download the one that is appropriate for whatever system you are using. So you download it, then ask you to create an account, your own Mendeley account. So I'll go to step by step in downloading it. So you need to sign up for an account on Mendeley. When you sign up for an account, if you fill in the required fields, you fill that, then it will create an account for you. Then you download Mendeley. Now, the moment you download Mendeley, you can then add on. Now, in this step, you install Mendeley Web Importer. Then for 3A, you install Mendeley Web Importer. Then the next thing, you install Mendeley Microsoft Word plugin. This Microsoft Word plugin enables you to work on your Microsoft, and you still have your Mendeley under your reference. Under the reference section, you have your Mendeley icon there the moment you have installed MS Word plugin. Then you can, from then, download citation styles. It will download different citation styles for you. Then we can then move to step 4, where you then make use of Mendeley. So we'll talk about how to download citation and populate your reference manager. Then managing your articles on Mendeley. Then also types of citing articles as you write. Then reading on Mendeley. We will talk about that. So the next thing will be looking at Mendeley interface. Now, on the screen, you have Mendeley interface. With Mendeley interface, can you see my screen clearly?
Very well, yes, thanks.
Okay, thank you, sir. So for Mendeley interface, this is how the Mendeley interface looks like. And once you are done with all of these steps, filling the required field, downloading it, installing everything you need to install, then your Mendeley is ready to use. So this is the interface, the Mendeley interface. So if you have this, as you have installed the Mendeley. Now, if you have this interface, you then need to sign on sign in on this of your main library like this. You have your main library like this. But why you are seeing this is because this library, this interface has already been populated with several articles. But after this interface, the moment you have signed in, you have a fresh interface where there won't be any article there. The next thing is to go to Tool. Under Tool, you will see this drop-down menu where you can then click on Install MS Word plugin. The moment you install MS Word plugin, of course, automatically it's going to plug in this Mendeley into your Microsoft Word. So now, into your Microsoft Word, then you can then have, again, you can then go to Insert, Get Add-in again, then install Mendeley site. Then you can also log in into your account. All of these things, by the time we start demonstrating, you will get it. So I don't know if I should stop sharing this screen and go to my Mendeley library, and I will switch between Mendeley as well as the Microsoft Word so that I can demonstrate how Mendeley works. So permit me to stop sharing this screen, and I will share the Mendeley, the real Mendeley library screen. Okay. Sorry, I want to open my Mendeley, then I can share the screen. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can see your screen now.
So, sorry, what can you see, sir? Amaz.
Your
can you see on
Mendeley
the screen?
library.
Okay, thank you. So I want to be sure that what I want to project is what I'm projecting. So I have my Mendeley library on the screen. Just a moment, please. So this is how Mendeley looks like, the library. Now I have several, and now another thing Mendeley allows you to do is you can create different folders. If you are working on multiple projects, if you are working on multiple projects, multiple research projects, you can create different folders for these projects. Now, with what is displayed on the screen, you have all documents. I have recently added, recently read, favorites, needs review, my publications. Again, remember, because that I have populated this library, that's why you see we are seeing all of this populate. And how do you populate the library? Now you have here, you see file, just like Microsoft Word, where you have file, you have edit, you have view, you have tools, you have help. Let me quickly go into tools, just to demonstrate what I showed in the slides. Now, under tools, I've clicked on tools. You have install web importer. Now, if I click on install web importer, it's going to install web importer for me, meaning that I can work both offline and online. So for web importer, if I'm working online, I can still cite online. On working on Google Doc, for example, I can still cite online. Now, because for this version of Mendeley, I have installed Microsoft Word plugin. Now I'm going to uninstall it, but okay, if I'm going to uninstall it now, I must be sure that I didn't open Microsoft Word, any Microsoft. So I've been sure of that, so I didn't open it. So look at what is displaying now, that the Word plugin has been uninstalled. So I want to assume that we are installing it for the first time. So now I then go back to tool. I will click on install MS Word plugin. I have done that now, and it will bring this up. This will pop up. And what this means is it has been installed on my Microsoft Word. It has been installed on my Microsoft Word. So the next thing will then be, we need to populate our library. Now, in populating our library, just like, in the process of literature search, we do the normal literature search, whether you're searching on Google Google Scholar, you're searching on EBSCOhost, you're searching on Inari. Now, just the most important thing is search the right database, get the right article, evaluate the article, screen the article. Then the moment you have the right article to use, that you are convinced that you want to read, you need to download the article. There are two ways to this. You can download the article, create a folder on whether your desktop or your document, name the folder appropriately, download the article and save it in the folder. The moment you save it in the folder, you have saved in the folder. That is one route. You have saved the necessary document in the folder. Now you need to come to your Mendeley library. You click on file. Here, the Mendeley desktop. You click on file. You can add folder, the entire folder. Or you can add file. You can add the entire folder. It gives you the opportunity to watch the folder. Then you can add entry manually. You can add entry manually. Now, let me briefly talk about add entry manually. If you're adding entry manually, you agree with me that there are some materials that we may want to use that are not available online. For example, book published locally that are not indexed online, that are not available online. We can still add them. We can add literature that are in hard copies. That is the whole essence of add entry manually. But what this does is, when you're adding entry manually, let me click it, then it gives you the opportunity to fill the fields that you have. Now, adding entry manually, you can select if it's a journal article. We still have a lot of journals that are not indexed online, that are not available online. So you need to pick the field. You need to pick what you are feeling. Excuse me. If you are feeling hard copy article, if it's not an article, it may be a book. You need to pick book. If it's not a book, if it's a book chapter, you need to pick book session. If it's not a book session, if it's a case, for those in law, if it's a case, you pick case. So if it's a computer program, you need to pick computer program. If it's a newspaper article, you pick newspaper. If it's a conference proceeding, you pick conference proceeding. If it's an encyclopedia article, you pick that. If it's a film, you pick film. If it's generic, you pick generic. Hearings, journal article, magazine, newspaper, patent, report, salute, and all. News and television broadcast. So you pick the one that is appropriate, that the ones that you want to fill. So the moment you have picked that, if it's a thesis that you want to cite, you can pick that. So the moment you pick that, whichever one you pick would determine the kind of fields that will pop up. So to bring out the appropriate fields that you will fill under what you have chosen as the type of the document you want to fill in. So for example, I have picked thesis here. Now it will ask for the title of that thesis, the name of the author. So here, you need to pay attention to something here. When you are filling the author's field, you need to, if you look at what is displaying here, you need to fill the last name, which we call surname. You need to fill the last name first and separated by comma. That comma is important. With the comma simply instruct mainly, what is saying is that I have separated this name and I want you to recognize this name as the last name, as the surname. Then you can then put other names. You can put the initials without full stop, without anything. Just put the initial. You only need to separate the initial. For example, let me demonstrate it. My surname is Aliyu. I need to introduce comma. Then I tap the space bar. Then my initial is TK. Then I have typed T. Then I need to separate with a space. Then I put the K. So this is how you feel. If you have multiple names, for example, you have another name, Ogunoye. Then separated by a comma, you type the bar, space bar, then Oladimeji, say OO. Then you do that for the names that you have. So it's going to recognize Aliyu Ogunye as a surname, and is in the process of citing, it will cite them appropriately. So we need to fill all of these fields. Now, if you want to put the abstract, you can put the entire abstract under it and it's going to recognize it. Then if you have keywords, you can put the keywords. The department in which the thesis has been done, you need to put it. Then the name of the university, the type of the type. If it's online, you put the URL where it can be located. Then if it has DOI, you put DOI. Then file type, you may need to attach the file so that you can have the file on Mendeley as well. So the moment you are done filling all of these, you only need to type save. you tap save, like click on save, and it will save that, and it will be in your library. That is for adding entry manually. Again, let's go back to file. We can add folder, and that's not, and that's not so, we can add folder, we can add file, but I'm going to demonstrate how to add file. You want to add file, you click on file, click on add file to know where the directory of where the folder is. For example, I have mine, let's say I have a folder on desktop. I'll click on desktop, then trace the file folder, trace the folder. Now, for example, I have a folder here where I saved as Azima. I can decide to add this, click some of the content in this folder. Then I have different things there. Now, I need to say here that Mendeley recognizes PDF documents. PDF documents is what you put in Mendeley. Of course, you can. I think you can still put Microsoft Word there, but again, PDF works better on Mendeley. So here, I'm not going to click. All we just need to do. Let's supposing I'm assuming what I have here are in PDF. I will just need to pick all of these and ask them to open. Ask it to open on Mendeley. By the time I click open, it will take this to Mendeley. Supposing I have added the content of the folder in my Mendeley library before, it's going to pop up this way. It's going to come like it will pop up this way. Then another possibility here is that now it's possible that you upload something on Mendeley and the field will not be, when the field is not appropriately populated, then you need to do the population yourself. I'm trying to look for one that is not well populated, and I can then do that for us. No, this is not, and the PDF is not here. So let me just click on one and probably just illustrate with that. For example, I have World Malaria Report 2023, and I've opened that. Now, Mendeley is going to ask you this detail. Now, if you see this, it's saying that these details need reviewing. You can mark them as correct or search the Mendeley catalog. Now, there are two ways to do this. If this document, is not well populated, the fields here are not well populated, you can search for the document online again, and the online version will do the correct population. Or you can do this, since you have the hard copy, you can do them, you can fill the feed by reading this and look at what is missing here. Now, for example, the author, this is a report, automatically this is a report. So you check the field here, under type, you pick report, though it has picked report automatically. You check the title. The title of this report is World Malaria Report 2023. When you look at the title here, I have World Malaria Report. So it means that something is wrong with this. So I need to correct this. I have World Malaria Reports 2023. World Malaria Reports 2023. So now under the title, this is correct now. Then I move to the field under authors. The author for this report is, we have World Health Organization. So in the process of, I want to pay attention to something here. Now, in the process of filling this, I have World Health Organization. Now, if you look under the field, if you look down here, it's asking if World Health Organization is an institution. Now, Because what the organization is, it's an institution. If it's an institution, no, I want it to pop up again so that we see what I want to demonstrate. What else? It's not popping up again, but under it, you will see it as, it will type what you're typing, what dot organization, and in brackets, it will put, if it's an institution, it will to put institution. So you need to click on that because what the organization is an institution. If you are not clicking on it, it's not going to recognize it as an institution, and it will not give you appropriate referencing, appropriate citation by the time you are citing it. So I have clicked on that, and that's why it's not displaying anymore. So for you go to the field under year, For year, you need to be sure that of the year when the report was published. So if you look at this report was published in 2023. So we'll fill 2023. Then you go to, once you are done filling that, you go to pages. You need to put the number of pages that you have. Here we have 356 pages. You put 1 to 356. Then the abstracts, you may need to put you may want to. This is optional. You may want to. You may decide not to put the abstract because the process of citation, in the way of citing this document, is not going to put abstract in the in the citation. Then you fill other field. City, it's been filled automatically. Geneva, institution, WHO. Then URL is there. Then here you don't need to click any save or not. It's going to save it automatically. Then you can then click on details are correct, and you have it saved in your library as appropriate. So for every other document that you have, you do this. You need to check all the fields here to ensure that everything is correct. You need to check everything to ensure that everything is correct. And that is, once you're done with all of that, with importing all your documents into your Mendeley library, then the next thing is you need to, again, it's not that you're going to import, it's possible that what you have read 15, 20 articles. You can import all of that. From the start, you can import all of that. But as you are working, as you are writing, literary review is an ongoing thing. You need to start importing one by one and all of that. Now, instead of importing one by one, I can say you can go back to file. You can go back to file. Then under the third field there, under what you can then click on watch folder. If you don't want to start importing one after the other, you can, let's say, watch folder. You click on watch folder. Then it will create different directories for you where you need to navigate to where you have your folder saved. Now, the folder I use as an example is saved on desktop. The Azima folder is saved on desktop. So it's going to bring out some of the folder I have on desktop, and I will click the appropriate one. Sorry, I'm still trying to navigate where I have the folder. Sorry, I have two different, my SSD is partitioned. So it's possible that it's not on my main desktop. But what is important here is you need to know where the folder is. Once you know where the folder is, you need to look for the folder and click on watch. You just click on, you click on watch folder. You just click on the folder and it will watch the folder. It will watch the folder for you. I can't locate this. So, but that's how it runs. Click directories will pop up. Once the directory popped up, you trace where the folder is and you just click on it and you click OK and it will watch the folder for you. I don't know if that makes sense to us. Hello?
Yes.
Hello? Okay, thank you. So now, once we are done with this backend installation, population, and all of that. Once we're done with it, then I think we can go to Microsoft Word to demonstrate how Mendeley works on Microsoft Word. So permit me to also stop sharing, and I would like to share my Microsoft. I would like to open a new Microsoft Word and demonstrate how it works for us. So I'm trying to open a Microsoft Word. So I have my Microsoft Word opened. Can you see my screen?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. So now you want to work on Microsoft because that's where we work most times. So you are typing adolescence is a stage of exploration, blah, 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 blah. You are typing and you feel, oh, this is a statement of fact, and I need to cite this statement. How do you then cite from here? If you look at the top on the top of your Microsoft Word, you have the same thing I demonstrated under Mendeley. You have file, you have home, you have WPS PDF, you have insert, draw, design, layout, references, and this is where I'm going. Under references, when you click references, sorry, this is, okay. When you click references, so can someone tell me what you can see under references?
Insert citation, undo, refresh, insert
Okay,
bibliography,
thank you so much. So for inside citation, now you see this is a Mendeley icon. We are seeing this because while I was trying to show you the Mendeley interface, remember that I click under tool, and under tool, I click on install Microsoft plugin. Can you remember that? Hello? Can you remember that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, beautiful. So that is the reason why we are seeing this Mendeley icon plugged into my Microsoft Word. Now, we said we want to cite because we know that what we have, the statement we have typed is a statement of fact. So now, again, you must have read where that idea is coming from. So you know where you already know what you want to cite. So you just click on insert citation. When you click on insert citation, a dialog box is going to pop up. Can you see the dialog box, please? Hello?
It's not showing yet, but it's showing on my own computer. But it's not showing on.
It's showing
It's showing
It's
on
showing
my
on
own
your own
computer,
computer.
but it's not showing on the screen. Yes.
Okay, let me click it once again. Is it showing now?
I don't know if others can see it, but I'm following it step by step, so it is showing on my own computer.
Okay. So I don't know if others can see it.
It's not
So a dialog box.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know what is wrong actually, but I can see it on my own system here, and it's popping up on my system. So for the maybe if let me just continue. So, but a dialog box is going to pop up. For the dialog box, you will see search by author, comma, title, or year in my library. Under that, you see my library. You see my library. Now, if you click on that, because you have different folders, because if you have different folders on your Mendeley library, I spoke about folder the other time that you can create different folders in your Mendeley. Now, this library will allow you to navigate through that to go to where you have the article saved. Now, it's possible that you have it in different folder. Now, depending on the kind of folder you have in your library, then you can then click on that under this icon. Under this field where you have my library. You can have external library. So it's going to navigate, you can navigate through that here. Then it's also possible that you have it on the web, or you can go to Mendeley or on the Mendeley where you are Mendeley also. Then you have you have cancel. You can cancel this if you know that you are not citing. So now to search, it will search. The dialog box is popping up because it will search automatically in your Mendeley library. Okay, I have somebody down.
Yes, sir.
Oh, AUCO had me.
Yes, it's me. Thank you, sir. With the permission of the DVC Research and Professor Good, I want to ask if it is possible, sir, that you help us break this into two, so that you can take us again next week, where we look into putting these references in an actual document, because already our time is up, and so I wanted to ask if it's something that is possible, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. I think we can stop here for today. Then illustration, we can do illustration next week.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. This is really helpful. I see people joining and trying, and I see new people coming on. And for those who missed any part of this lecture, it is also on our YouTube page, so you can always go back there and use the video as your reference points. So I think one of the things we'll do as part of the publicity for next week is that we'll add the link to this lecture on the YouTube to the publicity material, so that anyone who would be joining next week would have the opportunity of watching these preliminary and introductory presentations. So I want to say thank you very much, sir. And I want to say we really appreciate you. You are doing this on very short notice, and we acknowledge this and we say thank you very much. For everybody that was able to join, I want to say thank you very much, Saz and Mas. But then it is not in my place to do that. Let me invite Professor Babajide Ojo, the Director of University Research Office, to appreciate our speaker. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gunyi. I want to sincerely thank Dr. Kolawole Aliyu for this presentation. I mean, he said it's at a short notice, but I want to say thank you so much for attending to our request at a very short notice. And then also to thank you in advance for, next week. And then for maybe the next week, maybe a fortnight time, because this is a very good and very stimulating presentation that you have given to us this morning. And I believe that it's going to be very useful to our students, not just to them, but to also the researchers amongst us who are attending this presentation. So I want to say thank you, and thanks to everyone who have endeavored to attend this morning presentation. Thanks. So
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Liu, I don't know if you have anything you want us to prepare for ahead of next week to make the session easier and for us to also be able to follow better. And then any closing remarks from you, sir?
Okay, thank you. I want to thank the director, and I also want to thank DVC DVC Research and everybody for the opportunity given to me to, facilitate this session this morning. I thank you for the opportunity. No, as in regards preparation for next week, I would like us to download Mendeley desktop, do the necessary sign in, and so have it on our desktop against next week, so that it will be very easy for us to follow through, to walk us through how it works, and as well as how we can use it on Microsoft Word. So once again, I want to thank the director. I want to thank everybody. I want to thank Central Office of Research as a whole. Thank you so much for the opportunity given to me.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, we'll download and get ready. And on behalf of the Central Office of Research, the Postgraduate College, and the PG Student Association, we want to say thank you to everyone that joined. I want to say, please invite your friends, anybody that you know uses literature review and would need this training, please let them come next week and share the link to the YouTube with them so that they too can download Mendeley and get ready ahead of discussion next week. So I want to say thank you everyone for coming, and thank you. We apologize. We are 2 minutes over time. We would try to not do that again. But say thank you and see you next week. Bye.